What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video here on the Game Time Voice YouTube channel. I'm your host, Mike Walsh, and I thank you for joining me for another exciting video here on the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about plenty of stories going on in the sports world. First off, the Red Sox recent hot streak, having coming off a sweep of the Houston Astros and winning their first game against the Kansas City Royals. We'll also be talking about a potential move for the Connecticut Sun, the WNBA franchise just south here in New England, potentially coming up to Boston after recent success of games at TD Garden, headed by Celtics minority owner Steve Pagliuca. And finally, we'll finish off the video with our wackiest of the week, taking a look at some pretty interesting sports stories throughout the country that might not be for the sane of mind, if you will. All that and much, much more, so buckle those chin straps and lace those skates up tight. This is episode 2 of the Game Time Voice Report. We're going to start today's episode of the Game Time Voice Report where we started last episode of Game Time Voice Report, talking about our beloved Red Sox and a recent hot streak that has them right in the thick of the playoff race heading into October. The Red Sox came out of the All-Star break a little bit skittish, going 4-6 in their first 10 games and really kind of hitting sort of a wall in terms of their hot streak after going into the All-Star break on a 10-game winning streak. However, they've rebounded in rather quick succession, going 8-2 in their last 10 games with a series win, winning 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, 2 out of 3 against the Twins, a sweep of the Houston Astros, and a win in their first game against the Kansas City Royals. Those Twins, Astros, and Royals series have also garnered the Red Sox a 6-game winning streak and have increased Fenway Park into one of the best home field advantages in Major League Baseball over that stretch. All of that has allowed the Red Sox to take the top spot in the American League wildcard race, as the Yankees and the Mariners have kind of hit a slide, more so the Yankees than the Mariners. Mariners are clinging on to that last wildcard spot, as the Rangers are a game and a half behind them, and the Guardians are only 2.5 back of the Mariners as well. Meanwhile, the Yankees have hit a tailspin, losing their last 4 and 4 out of 6 of their last 10, and have dropped to the second wildcard spot and tied with the Mariners for that, while the Red Sox hold a 2.5-game lead and could host a wild card game in the playoffs come in the near future. However, that doesn't mean that the Red Sox are out of the Eastern Division lead as well, as they are now 8-2 in their last 10 and have crept up to only 3 games behind the Toronto Blue Jays, who, like the Yankees, have gone 4-6 in their last 10 but have won their last game. The Rays also have gone 2-8 in their last 10 and are now 5.5 games back of the wild card and 11 games back of the Blue Jays. The Orioles sitting at the bottom, 9 games back of the wild card and 14.5 back of the division, although they've hit a little bit of a recent hot streak, going 6-4 in their last 10. All of this to say that we are headed for some exciting baseball down the stretch as we've begun the month of August and only have 2 more months of August and September before October baseball and postseason baseball come to us very, very soon, and hopefully many more memories at Fenway Park for this Red Sox team who have started to hit their stride after the trade deadline and definitely after the All-Star break. We're now going to move to the WNBA and our local team in Connecticut, the Connecticut Sun, with some interesting news that came out just before 3 o'clock on Saturday, as it was reported that Celtics minority owner Steve Pagliuca had reached a deal with a group to buy the Connecticut Sun and allowed them to move to Boston following the recent success of games at TD Garden. A source told ESPN's Alexa Phillip that a record $325 million sale was purchased by Pagliuca, the minority owner of the Celtics, along with Whit Grossbeck, who was set to lose the team to a new ownership in about 3 or 4 years and wouldn't play in Boston until the 2027 season. In addition, Pagliuca has also contributed $100 million as part of the deal for a new practice facility in Boston, a source told the Associated Press. The sale, of course, has to be approved pending approval from the league and its board of governors. This coming after 2 regular season games at TD Garden, including one against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever this past July. This coming off the heels of the announcement of 5 expansion teams in the WNBA that will begin play over the next 5 seasons, with Portland, Toronto coming in 2026, Cleveland adding a team in 2028, Detroit in 2029, and 2030, Philadelphia joining the WNBA as well, each paying a then record $250 million expansion fee in order to do so. However, the Hartford Business Journal was very quick to put out an article saying this is not set in stone. As a matter of fact, this came out today by David Krzyzewski of the Hartford Sports Journal, who said a move to Boston for the Sun is technically not a done deal yet. Krzyzewski has reported that both the Boston Globe and the Hartford Courant report that there are competing bids for the Connecticut Sun, which since 2003 has been owned by the Mohegan Sun, a subsidiary of the Mohegan Tribal Gaming Authority, and plays at the 10,000-seat Mohegan Sun Arena in Montville, Connecticut. This goes all the way back to 2002 when the Tribe paid $10 million to relocate then Orlando Miracle from Florida, but after 2 decades they are looking to explore selling the franchise, which is when Palioka and his group was said to be coming in. This past Sunday, Palioka released an important update on his bid for the Sun, the Globe reporting, stating that while it's important by Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey and Rhode Island Governor Daniel McKee has his full support, no transaction has been agreed yet. Our offer is subject to obtaining the required league approvals, as is the case for all such transactions. So while this is not set in stone and there are very many more roadblocks to come about to make this official for the WNBA and for the Sun, this is an exciting opportunity for the city of Boston to welcome a new sports franchise and having a recent success of it while welcoming the Fleet and proposing the Revolution moving to Everett in the coming years as well. To add the Sun as a part of it can only help matters for the city of Boston. So hopefully this will come through and the WNBA can be welcomed into Boston officially after success the previous 2 years. Finally, here on the Game Time Voice Report, we're going to get to our final segment, our fun segment here on the show, something that you guys enjoyed happening in the last episode. This is our Wackiest Sports of the Week, where we look at some of the wackiest and really unpredictable stories of the past 7 days that happened in the sports world from all over the place, from many different sports to many different instances. We're going to start in Colorado, of all places, as the Rockies and Pirates engage in one of the most interesting sports games of the past year, a 17-16 win by the Rockies after the Pirates jumped out to an early 9-0 lead in the first inning. Warren Schaefer, the interim manager of the Colorado Rockies, was quoted as saying, "That's got to be the most incredible game I've ever been involved in, hands down. With all the stuff that went into it, down 9-0 in the first, without us even having a chance to pick up the bat, then crawling our way back into the game, grabbing momentum in the middle part, and losing it inning after inning because of walks that just hindered our progress." Doug Darnell, age 28, earned the win in his major league debut 4 years after the Rockies signed him as an undrafted free agent on the strength of his 2 years of independent league baseball. He was the only Rockies pitcher to escape the game unscathed, pitching 2 scoreless innings, allowing 1 hit and striking out 1 batter in the process. Antonio Sentinelli put the Rockies in a deep hole in the first, allowing 8 runs, all earned on 7 hits and 2 walks in just 2/3 of an inning. As the Rockies chipped away, the Pirates kept answering back, and Colorado was down 16-10 when Darnell took the mound in the 8th inning. But in the bottom of the 9th, the game-winning blast came from Brenton Doyle in his first career walk-off homer, who over his last 7 games was slashing almost 500, 13 for 26 with a double homer and 3 RBIs. He's quoted as saying, "Getting down 9 in the first is tough to come back from, but we kept that energy high, kept fighting, and oh my God, what a game." So some mile-high magic for the Rockies and one of the most interesting and wackiest games in the short MLB season that probably won't be topped at all in the coming months. Next up, we're going to head to the Pacific Northwest, where the Seattle Kraken mascot Bowie had a very interesting exchange while on a fishing trip with a bear. The forward John Hayden was very quick to pass the buck, saying, "I want to blame Bowie wholeheartedly." They were pretty interested in this whole look, probably thought he was some sea monster, and went charging to make sure he wasn't going to touch any of their food instead. Bowie posted on his official Instagram, "Troll narrowly escapes bear encounter," and wanted to make sure that everyone knew that no bears or trolls were hurt in the making, and always respect wildlife in their natural habitat. Now, hopefully Bowie's all done trolling in this offseason and all set, ready to go in October when the NHL season comes back and the Seattle Kraken begin just their fourth season of existence here in the NHL, it can get back to the playoffs afterwards. Finally, an exciting twist, we're going to head to the regional action of the Little League World Series, where the Red River rivalry between Oklahoma and Texas took on a very interesting stage, as Oklahoma and Texas teams were involved in something very, very unusual for the Little League level of baseball. However, it's not often talked about in the Little League level because, unlike the pros and the college level, this is actually a violation and is frowned upon in the Sportsmanship Act of Little League Baseball, but nobody apparently told that to Oklahoma and Texas. Tulsa National and Texas West Little League faced off Sunday, with Texas West up 4-1 before a delay took place where umpires took together looking at a possible sign stealing and tipping of pitches. As play resumed, Tulsa's Kason Bachman changed the game with a grand slam afterwards. Oklahoma went on to win the game 12-9 in 8 innings over the Texas West team based in Midway. Tulsa versus Midway isn't exactly like teams from Norman and Austin at the college level, as Oklahoma and Texas University often meet each other in all different sports in the Red River rivalry, from football to basketball, all throughout the year. But some fans were kind of in the Red River spirit, so to say. Oklahoma will move on to play another elimination game as they played on Monday, and Tulsa National went on to face Texas East, but some weird instances of sign stealing at a level you don't normally see, because the kids are oftentimes so friendly, know each other from school or from other teams, and often wouldn't stoop to that level. But to see it happen in this level and to actually be against the rules is, I think, maybe something you add to the Major League Baseball level, because you see it all the time, but it's not technically against the rules. That's all the time we have for today. I want to thank you guys for joining me here on Game Time Voice Report. Remember to subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like on the video, and leave a comment down below, as it helps the algorithm as much as possible. Make sure to keep an eye out on social media. Follow us on Instagram at GametimeVoice. That's GametimeVoice, all underscore, one word. And don't miss out on any new videos. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us. I've been your host, Mike Walsh, and from everybody here on the Game Time Voice YouTube channel, I want to wish you a good rest of the week, and thank you for joining us here on the Game Time Voice Report, here on the Game Time Voice YouTube channel. Game Time Voice, the voice of the common sports fan.